Beautiful ones, today we're exploring Venus in the eighth house, where love, power, and transformation collide and turn pain into alchemy. Now, they say love transforms you, but they never told you it might have to destroy you first. When Venus lives in the eighth house, right here, that's the sign for Venus, symbol for Venus. This is the eighth house. When Venus lives in the eighth house, she doesn't play on the surface. This is the house of merging, of soul level connection, where attraction becomes metamorphosis and intimacy becomes initiation. Here, love demands more than affection. It asks for surrender. And that surrender can feel terrifying because it's not just about another person. It's about who you become when everything falls away. Welcome back, beautiful ones. I'm Cindi, astrologer, mystic, and your guide through the stars. And this is Venus Through the Houses. Today, we step into the realm of the eighth house, the place where Venus learns that beauty isn't always gentle. Sometimes it's forged in fire. And before we begin, understand you don't need to know astrology to feel what we're about to explore together. If you're new here, and if you're new to this series, I recommend you watch episode 1, and I'll leave that up here for you, where I explain who Venus really is and how her placement in the houses tells the hidden story of your heart. But for now, stay here, because today we walk straight into the alchemy of love, where desire meets fear, and both are transformed into truth. So let's take a minute and talk about the beauty wound of the eighth house. Let me ask you this. What happens when love feels like survival? For many with Venus here, love didn't feel safe. It felt consuming. Now, maybe you grew up around intensity, where emotions ran too deep, where secrets no one spoke about, or a parent whose love came only through crisis or control. So early on, you learned to associate love with adrenaline. To love was to lose yourself. To be wanted was to be possessed. And when you carry that imprint, you can spend years mistaking chemistry for connection. The pull is so magnetic, so irresistible, but underneath, your nervous system is bracing for impact each time. Because somewhere deep inside, the question became, will this love heal me or hollow me out? Now, the wound of Venus in the eighth house is the fusion wound, the place where you equate intimacy with annihilation. It's that aching need to merge fully, so fully that you forget where you end and they begin. And the terror that always follows when you realize you vanished again. And beautiful ones, I want you to know, I see you. You learned to protect your softness because love once felt like fire. But what if that fire wasn't punishment? What if it was your soul's way of teaching you how to hold power and tenderness in the same heartbeat? Now let's talk about the distortion. This is when desire meets fear. It breeds control. When this wound stays unhealed, Venus becomes the mistress of emotional extremes. Love becomes a storm, passion, silence, obsession, withdrawal. You crave intensity because calm feels empty. You chase depth, but fear exposure. You build walls even as you reach for closeness. You might find yourself in relationships that feel fated, karmic even, where the highs are euphoric and the lows shatter you. because the story you inherited says, if I surrender, I'll disappear. So you cling tighter, you dig deeper, you try to merge before trust is even built. And when the fear rises, you withdraw, testing, withholding, manipulating energy to feel safe again. It's not that you want control, it's that control became your substitute for safety. But love built on control is never sacred. It's constantly measuring, guarding, predicting. It doesn't breathe. Now, beautiful ones, if this message is resonating, take a breath with me and subscribe to Simply Cindi, because every week we dive deeper into these layers: Venus, Pluto, Saturn, all the places where your soul is remembering its power. You're not alone in this transformation. So I want you to open your mind and your heart as I ask you this question. What if surrender wasn't losing power, but remembering it? Healing Venus in the 8th house means rewriting what power feels like in love. It's realizing that safety isn't found through control. It's found through consciousness. You begin to ask, can I stay open even when I feel exposed? Can I trust my own boundaries enough to let someone in without losing myself? Reclamation starts the moment you choose presence over performance. When you stop using mystery as a defense and start letting truth be your magnet. When you recognize that surrender is not collapse, it's expansion. Because the 8th house isn't where you die. It's where you're reborn through transparency. It's where your soul says, no more half-truths, no more power games, only what's real. And in that space, love becomes sacred medicine, not because it's painless, but because it purifies. Every heartbreak becomes a ritual of reclamation, the ashes of the old self fertilizing your next evolution. Now, stick with me as we see how love is alchemy. What if every heartbreak was an initiation? When Venus matures in this house, she transforms pain into wisdom. You stop fearing the depths because you've met yourself there and found light that no one can take. Here, love becomes alchemy. It stops being about what you gain or lose and becomes about what you awaken in each other. Two souls standing naked before the truth, saying, I see you. I trust the transformation we create together. This is Venus as priestess, not the seductress or victim, but the alchemist of intimacy. Her beauty doesn't depend on being adored. It radiates from within because she has walked through shadow and returned with gold. So when you love now, it's not from hunger, it's from wholeness. You no longer seek the fire to prove you're alive. You are the fire. Beautiful ones, Venus in the 8th house is the sacred destroyer and the divine rebuilder. She doesn't come to teach you easy love. She comes to teach you true love, the kind that asks you to die to your defenses and to be reborn in truth. The wound taught you that closeness equals danger. The distortion taught you that control equals safety. But the truth is this: you can be powerful and open. You can be vulnerable and safe. You can love deeply without losing yourself. Every time you rise from heartbreak, you're refining your own light, becoming the embodiment of love that cannot be taken, only shared. So let every relationship become a sacred rite of transformation. Let every ending be the portal to greater intimacy with yourself. And remember, you were never meant to survive love. You were meant to evolve through it. Now, if this message stirred something in you, hype this video because every hype sends it further to those who are ready to remember their own power. Then go watch my Pluto in the 8th house episode, because when Venus and Pluto meet, shadow turns into gold and love becomes liberation. Until next time, beautiful ones, remember, you are the alchemy, and your love, that's your power.